Welcome back to Forever Hardcore. This is episode 20. In the last episode, we built the house you see behind me, and in between episodes, I've been making some small improvements. I added a few of these cracked stone bricks, for example, to add some texture. I still have to add some mossy, but in places we also have some of the mossy cobblestone and regular cobblestone too. So we do have a little bit more visual interest in the stone part down here. I also added a little flower box right here, and we're probably going to add some more of those today. I want to show you this box though real quick. It's just made of trapdoors, 3 blocks of dirt up there, and then on the inside, I'll show you quickly. Yep, there's some things in here too. Spoiler alert. I'll show you them in just a moment, but I want to show you the rest of this flower box real quick. I have some of those eye blossoms in here from the Pale Garden biome, so they only open at nighttime, but just by putting the flower box in, you can plant down flowers here, which looks really nice. Downstairs, you saw some interior improvements as well. We'll go down there now. So we did put a door on this section here. This is the stairs that go up to the second floor. There's another way to get to the second floor, which we just used a moment ago, which is the ladder and the trapdoor here. We can close that. And then we have a little nook here with a bed hidden away and a lantern inside. I added the floor, which is stripped dark oak logs. I also mixed in a few of these spruce planks, and we've got a bunch of these barrels dotted around as well. The stairs that go down to the level 30 enchanting area here have a little railing made of spruce trap doors, and I've made a little work area over here. We've also got some more trap doors here, lantern, bamboo in a pot and an anvil. There's another workstation back there, the smithing table, and a bunch of storage. These chests are all empty right now, but we're going to fill them up soon. These chests over here are just for junk, I think. I've been throwing extra wood bits into this chest here, and this one is apparently for iron bars, because I crafted too many. The back door is in now as well, but there aren't too many new things to see out here. But if we go out the back, you can just see that I've added a couple of sweet berry bushes, and there's some ledges on the windows now. You probably didn't see this in the last episode either, but I finished the eaves. I used the dark oak wood, and there's just a bunch of stairs there for the eaves on this side, and I'll show you that from some other perspectives as well. And this entranceway is also new. I framed it in with a little roofed area, added another lantern. We've got these fences, and on top of these cobblestone walls here. And then these are all just the spruce trap doors with a spruce door for the entrance, and I think that looks pretty good. Kind of adds to that medieval flavor that I was hoping for. This also helps. Down here on the ground, we've extended some of the brick out and added some cobblestone and mossy cobblestone as well. It's starting to look quite nice. Up on the roof, I didn't make any improvements. I didn't add any dormer windows, so it's still just a basic V-shaped roof. And on the back, it's not looking too fancy either, but it looks pretty good from the air, and I want to show you that in just a minute. But first, I'm in the middle of installing something new. This is going to be a player launcher. We're going to use those, what are they called? Wind charges. So you can craft these from breeze rods, as I just did, and we're going to add these into the player launcher. But first, I have to add the dispensers. So we're going to put one on all 4 sides. These are just decorative tough blocks on the corner, although I'm tempted to switch them out for some lighting. Down below, we actually need a pressure plate. I'm going to use a stone one. And it looks like it's going nighttime, but if I fill these dispensers quickly, here, let's just put a half a stack in each, and then I'll add more later. I just want to make sure that we get enough in here so that I can use the player launcher. There we go, that'll do. And if you've never seen one of these before, they're really cool. I'm going to try to do it in another POV, but basically you can just walk in and it'll shoot you right up into the air. I love it. From there, you can just activate your elytra and fly around. And that's what we will be doing now. But I wanted to land on the roof quickly so that I could just show you the finished product here. So like I said, no windows into the attic up here, but I did finish all the tough variants on the roof, and so that actually makes the roof look quite nice. I'm not sure if I'm going to add the windows yet or not, but that's something we can always decide later and then add in at another time. All right, I need to sleep. I'm going to use this bed in here, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do in today's episode. For this episode of Forever Hardcore, my original plan was to work on a Froglight farm in the Nether, and I was going to use the bastion that we discovered a couple episodes back because it had a magma cube spawner. I watched a video tutorial on how to make that farm and decided that it's actually going to wait. I'm not quite ready. There's a lot of danger involved, and there's some clearing of lava and some other resources that I need to gather. So instead, we're going to make a very simple Froglight farm, and I've got started over here already. Inside this deep slate box are some frogs that I've been breeding up, and I placed them right in front of the nether portal. This portal goes to the nether roof, and the reason I've done that is because we're going to breed up frogs in here. You can see that I have some already. And we're going to use these frogs for a Froglight farm. You might be able to see that all the frogs in there at the moment are all the same color because this biome here is a beach biome. And so it's given us all the temperate frog, which give us the ochre froglights. In order to get the other two froglight colors, we'll have to breed frogs in another area. But I think we could use the jungle here to get the warm frogs, and that'll give us... Let's see, is that the... No, verdant is cold biome, so that would give us the pearlescent froglights. The verdant froglights, you need frogs that are green from a cold biome to do that, so we're probably going to do that at a later time. But for now, let's get started by breeding up some frogs. I don't quite have enough. Here, let me see if I can get in here and close the trapdoors. This is going to get increasingly hard to do. Okay, I see tadpoles. They still need to grow up into more frogs. But while we're here, we can use some of these slime balls and try to breed these frogs again. There we go. And then hopefully we'll get some more of those frog eggs, and they'll hatch eventually into tadpoles. Once they all grow up into frogs, we'll come back and lead them into the nether, where I've already built a structure. I want to show you the structure now, even before we move the frogs in. It's okay if some of these frogs accidentally get pushed like this into the nether, because that's where they're going to end up eventually. In fact, why don't we go to the nether now, and I'll show you the structure that I have in place on the nether roof. Here we go. Here we are up on the nether roof. Let me grab some rockets, and we are going to go about 100 blocks in this direction, where there is a basalt delta biome, and if we just land on top of this box here, which I'm going to show you in a minute, we'll spawn magma cubes inside. Let's hop down from here. So if we look in, you can see that what we have here is a raised box, and this is the output chest for the farm. I've already tested it to make sure that the magma cubes spawn inside. That's why there's a magma cream, which is what the magma cubes drop. Inside we have hoppers connected to that output chest, and on top I've placed mud blocks. On top of the mud blocks, magma cubes do spawn, and whenever anything drops on top, such as this piece of steak here, it gets picked up by the hoppers below, and that steak will be waiting for me in the output chest. Connected to this little farm here, which is actually very small. I think this is the smallest version I've ever made of this farm. It's approximately an 8x8 cube, 8x8x8, and there's some stairs and a very large pole going up to the top. Maybe we can see this work quickly, even before we get the frogs in. By going up to the top of this ladder, we should get some magma cube spawns. And what we're going to do is make them into little magma cubes so that the frogs can consume them and give us froglights. That's the plan for today's episode, and hopefully we can make this little farm work until we can eventually get around to a bigger, better version at the Bastion. I've been stood here for a couple minutes now. Let's fly down and see if we got any magma cubes to spawn inside. I don't see any. So it didn't work that time, but I assure you it does work. I've tried it and tested it, and we're going to move the frogs in and see if we can get some froglights out of this farm. While we're waiting for the frogs to grow up for the froglight farm, let's get started on today's build. I need to do some spruce chopping because what we're going to build today is a dock. I want one centered on this crafting table here, and also the 3 wide stairs that I just modified. We're soon going to remove this door here, so you're not going to be able to access this area, which was our starter base. Now that we have this house built, I'm trying to encourage access here instead by blocking this off. But of course we can still get down there by using the basement entrance inside. So the dock that I have in mind is going to extend from about this level here, I think. So we'll build it up in the water here, which means these tree farms, they're going to have to move out of the way. But before we move them, let's chop down some spruce because we're going to use a lot of spruce for this dock today. I'm going to use the player launcher here, and we'll activate our elytra. Oh, we just got an achievement for that. If I land here on this tree, we can bust our way inside and start mining some spruce from the top instead of the bottom. We'll do the same to that tree over there because we're going to need a lot of wood. In addition to spruce wood, we're also going to be using quite a bit of the dark oak. So I've planted some down here, and I'm chopping it up now for use in our dock today. My plan is to use the dark oak wood under the water and use the spruce for when the dock is above the water. That way we get a darker color down below. Can I have those logs? I planted some saplings over there as well, but I have some dark oak already in my inventory, so we should have plenty to get started. I also need to clear away a bunch of the sugarcane along the shore here. I noticed I've had this growing here for a long time, and we have a farm for this over at the Mushroom Island, so we don't need this to be here anymore. I think eventually we should probably establish a farm here at spawn for sugarcane as well, but we can do that in between episodes. Alright, so we've got the sugarcane cleared out. Ooh, 62 from that. Nice. And a couple more pieces over here. We've got some saplings dropping, which is good. I need to recover those so I can plant some more dark oak wood. Let's mine up the rest of this tree, and then we'll get started placing some blocks. All right, let's grab a stack of the dark oak, and as I said, we're going to center the dock over here off the stairs and lined up with this crafting table here. I want the dock to be 5 wide, and so what we need to do is start placing some posts. Let's see, where do I want the first one to be? I think it needs to be here, actually. And so I've placed a dark oak. I'm going to replace the blocks underneath as well, but let me grab some spruce quickly so I can mark out where it sits above the water. I think eventually all these logs are going to be stripped, but I just want to mark out the first couple of posts here for the dock so that I can start figuring out the spacing and how I want this to line up. This is going to be nice once we get a dock in here. I may eventually build a ship as well alongside the dock and be able to fish from the dock as well, which I'm looking forward to the most. All right, so how many blocks out do we go under the water here? I know for sure I want to bring all of these pillars down. as far as we can see them. I'll strip everything later, but I need to figure out the spacing. I think I want it to be an odd number, so maybe we go down 5. Is this 5 right here? It gets very deep here because of the ocean biome. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there is a spacing of 5 here. Let's bring this post up and see if we like the spacing. All right, so far it looks good. I need to cap it with spruce wood. And did I do the same thing over here? No, I used dark oak. Well, maybe we will switch it then. We'll use spruce, 1 block underneath. That's the new rule, but dark oak logs under that. So we can place another spruce here, and then let's go figure out where the other pillar is going to be opposite that one. Let's have a look at the progress I've made to the dock here, and then we'll go see if the frogs are ready to move into the nether farm. So I've been using the spruce planks here to connect up the dock. I built it at a level where we could place blocks on, such as this barrel here. So that's why it's not going to be spawn proof unless we light it up, but it shouldn't be an issue. I wanted to be able to have a fully functional dock in case we decide we want to place things on here in the future. I'm also trying to mix in some of these trapdoors every once in a while. So you can see I have quite a few of these spruce trapdoors placed in, and every once in a while I want to use some of the, what are they, oak trapdoors as well. We have one back here. Let's use a few more of these in some places. And I think they look good, especially next to some of the other trapdoors, but I don't want to use too many of these. I think it looks better if they're used sparingly. The spruce trapdoors we can use pretty liberally. And then eventually we're going to connect all of this up. But for now, I'm just going to leave it open. Underneath the dock, you can see why I used 2 different wood types. See this hard line here between the spruce and the dark oak log? I think that has a nice effect, almost like the water is having a darkening effect on the wood, because this part of the log would be always underwater, and this part would be sometimes underwater depending on the tide. And it is a little bit difficult to get up on the dock, but I wanted the surface of the dock to be lifted out of the water. I put some ladders on the side in case we get stuck, we can come back up on the dock. And I'm going to fill this all in soon, but since the piers extend so far below the water, I decided it might look good if we had a little bit of support underneath. So I've done one as kind of a temporary demonstration. We might repeat this all the way down, I think, because it looks like we need some kind of crossbeam or support under here. In fact, we could probably do double on each pier, and it would still look pretty good. You won't really notice it when you're up on top of the dock, but it's kind of an important detail when you're underwater. So I need to add some torches here. I'm going to do it quickly because I don't want too many mobs to spawn in case it's nighttime. I've been sleeping most of the nights away, but I can't risk too many hostile mobs in this area, so we're just going to light it up like that temporarily until we can get some better lighting in here. All right, let's go check on the frogs now and see if it's time to move them into the farm up on the nether roof. Ooh, it looks like we have a lot of frogs inside. I don't see any tadpoles anymore, and I think that's going to be enough frogs to get the farm going. If we need more, we can come back and get them. But I want to remove this structure eventually. I don't want this to be in front of my nether portal forever. So let's see if we can lure the frogs. I think the best way to do that is, let's go ahead and put some slime balls in our offhand. And we're going to go ahead and remove these fence gates. And hopefully we can get all the frogs to follow us into the portal. Yeah, they definitely are lured by the slime ball. And they have nowhere else to go, really, except for through the portal. So let's see if we can get as many as we can. I see them going in. Every once in a while, one climbs up and out, but that's fine. If we lose a few, it's not a big deal. I got the frogs through, but I was wrong about the tadpoles. There's still quite a few in here. But since it seems like we have enough frogs for now, I'm just going to go ahead and block this back up. And then there'll be more frogs in here eventually for us to use. Let's go through the portal now before we get too many frogs coming back through the other way. And it's time to see if we can lure these guys over to the farm, which is about 100 blocks that away. Come along, frog army. It's time to march. Moving frogs, even just 100 blocks, takes forever. It's been such a long time trying to transport these frogs over, but we're almost there to the farm, and we'll get these guys inside. Once they're securely inside the cube, we'll head on up the ladder and see if we can get some magma cubes to spawn. And if we are lucky, we'll be able to get a few froglights before we have to get back to our dock building. All right, here we are at the farm. I think we only lost a couple frogs along the way. Let's go ahead and remove these fence gates. I picked up one. Where did the other go? Okay, there it is, in the chest. And let's see if we can lure these guys into the farm. It might be difficult. I might have to... Okay, one guy got in. Let's see if the rest of them can climb the stairs there. Maybe if I back up a little more, they'll be able to crowd through the opening. I can hear a gasp, but I think it's in the nether below the nether roof. I'm just hearing it through the floor. Okay, most of the frogs are in. Let me check and see. Yeah, they're streaming in nicely. Let's make sure that they have something to get lured by, which is my slime balls in my hand. Okay, I think they're all in. If I place this... Whoa, okay, that's out of here. Let's take the slime balls out of our hand. And we can close that door, pick up this one, and put it in place there. Okay, it's time to go up the ladder now and see if we can get some magma cubes to spawn in. I've been stood here now for about 5 minutes. Let's go down and see how we did. Okay, there are magma cubes inside the farm. Let's check the chest. Okay, no froglights in there. So I think we're going to have to use our bow for this one. We need to make those magma cubes smaller. Let's open up these fence gates quickly and then close them. The magma cubes should attack me. But all I need to do is make these magma cubes a little bit smaller, and they will be a feast for our little frog friends. Okay, the trick here is to not hit any of the frogs. We want the frogs to survive, and these magma cubes are a bit jumpy. So it's easy to accidentally hit the frogs every once in a while. Hey, they're eating them. And, oh, I saw froglights drop. Let's go check the chest outside and see how many we got. And in the chest we have 16 ochre froglights. So it seems like this farm was a success. Actually, let me just leave these lights in here. And we even got a few of these magma cream as well, a byproduct of the farm. I think I'm going to spend, if that was only 5 minutes, I'm going to spend maybe a half hour up there, and we'll see how many of those froglights we can get. All right, we've got another big magma cube here. It has been approximately 30 minutes. I noticed that these big magma cubes are the key to getting the most number of Froglights. I have injured approximately 2 frogs so far, so I don't feel great about that. But we're getting quite a bit of Froglights. We'll count them up in just a moment. I also noticed that not all the Froglights get picked up. See, this one here on the edge isn't being picked up by the hopper below. It's almost like the hoppers underneath these mud blocks wasn't completely necessary. Since this farm is so manual, we could have just picked up all the Froglights ourselves without the collection system, but that's fine. I'm not going to remove it now. So these frogs are just going to stay here in the farm. Eventually we'll get the other colors in here. Let's take a look at the total. We got a total of 48 Froglights from a half hour of farm use, plus a few magma cream as well. So we'll come back to this farm whenever we need more Froglights. I think I'm actually going to take these with me, but let's head back to base now, and we can finish up our dock because I want to do a little bit of fishing to end the episode. All right, let's finish up this dock so we can do a little bit of fishing from the end. I'm just going to fill the rest in with slabs for now. I think we have enough of the trapdoors in where it's going to look pretty good, and I just want to make sure we get the entire surface finished. It's too bad the campfires didn't work out. I was looking for a way to work those in as well, but they only work when you do the half slab version of this dock, which I didn't want to do. All right, let's do some fishing. I have a unenchanted fishing rod here. Let's cast it out into the ocean and see what we get. I'm hoping for a cod. Eventually, I guess we'll go back to an enchanted fishing rod. I don't remember what I did with my other one. I fished a mending fishing rod a little while back. If I can find it, it's probably over at the Mushroom Island base. I'll go get it eventually and make a super good fishing pole, but for now, we'll just do some fishing the old-fashioned way. Can I at least get a fish here? All right, there we go. It looks like we caught a salmon. You know what we need while we're fishing? Is a little bit of music. Let's set down a jukebox right here, and we'll have a listen to Other Side while we fish some fish. Fish some fish, catch some fish. Ah, 10 ink sac. And that's going to do it for this episode of Forever Hardcore. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.